This evening, insha'Allah ta'ala, is for every one of our sisters who loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that lives in defense of the Quran and the Sunnah, and lives for Jannah, that has forgotten who she is. I want to speak to you, but the real you. I don't want to speak to the lipstick, or the color contacts, or the pink hair, or the loud gum, or the head bouncing to the iPod, or the cowgirl boots, or the fake nails. I want to speak to you, the real you, your heart and your soul and your mind, about those things buried deep down inside of you that I wish that you could remember. Don't you remember who you are? وَنِسَاءٌ كَاسِيَاتٌ عَارِيَاتٌ مَائِلَاتٌ مُمِلَاتٌ. And women that are kasiyat, they have clothes on, they have fabric on their bodies. Ariyat, but they're naked. They're wearing clothes, but it's as if they're not wearing anything. Their clothes are offering no concealment for them, like the women we see nowadays. Ma'ilat, mumilat. They sway side to side in the way they walk, the way they talk, and the way they interact with the opposite gender. The Prophet ﷺ says, لا يدخلن الجنة ولا يجدن ريحها. They do not enter Jannah, these two types of people. And they will not even be able to find the fragrance of Jannah. The women that leave the house with the shape of their bodies defined, or their hair shown, or they are decorated in one way, shape or form, or they are perfumed. Every neck that turns, every eye that looks, you share in the sin of the person that committed it. You can be thinking about 1,000,001 things from the moment you leave your house till the moment you return. You can be thinking about school and exams and shopping and email and studying and friends and appointments. You could be upon the bus reading Quran or making dhikr, and you don't even realize it. That guy whose eyes fall on your thigh, or his eyes fall upon your arms, or your neck, or your waist, or your legs, any of this, you get the exact same sin because you made that sin a possibility. You made it available. And it appeared to them before Allah what they never expected. Sins and sins and sins and sins, mountains. Never expected it. Some people will come on the Day of Judgment and this will be their condition. So wallahi, it's not just another sin. Our enemies, the enemies of Allah, the enemies of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the enemies of the Quran, the enemies of the believing men and women, they tricked the women, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, into selling herself like a piece of flesh on the streets. They brainwashed the woman into thinking that whatever attention she can draw to herself, that means she's liberated. They did it, for example, with the anti-Islam propaganda. They throw a bunch of women on screen with hijab on, and they say this is the definition of oppression, 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 oppression. And something repeated so many times begins to settle in the minds, and taken for granted as a reality and as a fact. Add on top of that, as sociologists will tell you, this is not some random guess. Trained specialists and researchers tell you that a woman, when she dresses more provocatively, she gets 14% better wage. The higher the skirt, the higher the pay. The more buttons open on the blouse, the higher the pay. The prettier the hair, the higher the pay. They trick the women into thinking the attention they can grab to what? To feed their perverse desires. They brainwashed women into thinking that was value. And they thought they were liberated. And they finally achieved equality. But I want to say, they might have tricked the women. I want to say they might have tricked the women, but not you. Not my sister. Not the slave of Allah. You would not fall for that. You are wiser than that. Sister, my sister, O daughter of Islam. You see, that's who you are. The daughter of Islam. That girl jumping around on screen in the music videos, that's not you. That girl dressed in a business suit, staying late in a private office as someone's secretary, that's not you. That fool on the billboard, that's not you. Sister, O daughter of Islam, become modest. Do not remove the veil. Do not remove the hijab from upon you and then become regretful. Guard your beauty if it's honor that you seek, because the people around you are like wolves on the prowl. Wallahi, this is so true. They killed in you the most beautiful thing about you. Al-haya, modesty. Sister, O you who spends hours in front of the mirror, looking at herself. Don't you know that Allah is watching you? And looking at you as you are sitting there or standing there, pleased at what you are preparing of the disobedience of Allah? O sister who spends such large sums of money at the salon to give herself the new look for the party, or the streets, or the classroom, or the boardwalk. How much would you pay to fix your look before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Sister, wallahi, I fear for you. How many beautiful girls with beautiful skin got tried with skin cancer? That is so common in females nowadays. How many beautiful girls had to go through a procedure, an agonizing, depressing, grievous procedure, because she's tried with breast cancer. You think these diseases were always so common? Wallahi, they were not. Not in the age of obedience. I fear for you a punishment to come down from Allah. Veil yourself. And I fear for you that you don't really think you're going to die. Wallahi, you're going to die. We said this many times over and over again. That guy that you turned his neck in the street, wallahi, he will not benefit you when you are on that piece of wood and they are washing your body with that cold water.
That there is no one on this earth more beautiful than a Muslim woman. There's no one who comes close to that. Who is a servant of Allah, who dresses to please Allah. Khaliful Mushrikeen, be opposite the people, the disbelievers. So when this woman, before she leave the house, like the other woman, she looks in the mirror. But they're looking in the mirror for something different. When the woman in the street look in the mirror, she looking to make sure she has the best style, she looks good, she can attract a man. But this woman, when she look in the mirror, she makes sure she's dressed appropriately. Make sure that Allah is pleased with her. Make sure she's covered. So when she go out in the street, that she covered to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If she does that, she's beautiful. Opposite. The more you grow, the more you study, the more iman you have, the more you become disattracted to some of the things of the dunya. You don't like what you used to do because something happened to you. What happened to you? Something is in my heart now. Something is in my mind. I have Quran in my mind. I have Quran in my heart. I have the love of the Prophet. I have the love of Allah. I have something in me and I'm now different. I feel different. And I warn you, those of you who still like the dunya and you don't make a distinction, then iman is not written in your heart. And be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
The choice you have to make. So you ask yourself, do you have a life or is it a lifestyle? What do you have on your walls? Who you listen to? Who you look up to? Who are you trying to imitate? You walk, talk, eat, dress, everything like. And you'll find out that some of them, unfortunately, go with the flow. That's how I roll. I get the bling bling, I go down. It's true. Why? Because it's the peer pressure of today. And then you'll find out that who I am, that truly am, if you look at the reflection, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you have to think, my grandmother, my ancestors, Khadija. Don't you know who you are, Ukhti? Your ancestors, you are the children and grandchildren of the Aisha, Fatima radiallahu anhum ajma'een. So you should be proud, wallahi, of who you are. Walk with your head up high and think about it. Think about what Islam done. The first indication, go back to Ayyam al-Jahiliyyah, the pre-Islamic era, the ignorant era, so they call it. You'll find out that women had no rights. Women were killed before Islam just because they were dishonorable. It was a shame. As a matter of fact, it is mentioned in the Quran. It was a shame for anyone to have a daughter. What did they do? They either kill it or bury it alive, or bear with it for a shameless day or a long life. It is narrated that a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, I've done something before Islam that I fear that Allah may not forgive me for that. And of course we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives all sins except one, which is shirk, ascribing partners unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He told him after a long story, he says, I had this daughter. I felt ashamed. I was patient for a few years. And after a while I made a decision that I will either bury her or throw her in the well. And as I've done, I hear my daughter say, you have killed me, Dad. And I waited for her voice to drown till I heard her die. Till Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cried and the people around him cried too. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةِ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. On Judgment Day, this ma'uda, this young child, this young daughter that's prior to Islam, what sin has it committed for it to die? What mistake has she done? By what right have you killed your own daughters? She will come on Judgment Day, ask you, what sin